Hey, welcome to Sports and Politics with T. I'm your host, Tanya. Tonight we have made it back to Thursday, guys. Listen, I hope everybody's enjoyed their week so far. We have made it. We are already on January 22nd, guys, on the third week of January, y'all. Let's give it up for tonight. That's right. We are already approaching, getting into that last week of January. Listen, guys, I know we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to do a short segment. It's not going to be quite as long as the other segments, but we are going to cover two topics for tonight. And the first topic we're going to talk about is Donald Trump. He is thinking about buying and negotiating Greenland, the country of Greenland. Can you believe this, guys? They are really negotiating and trying to figure out ways for him to get in on buying the country of Greenland. Also, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the Roland Martin show, and they're going to talk about how voter rights are going to be changed. Will we be able to vote at all come the midterms? Are there things that's changing behind the scenes that we're getting ready to take a look at? You know, they are trying to remove rights from the American citizen. And trust me, we got our eyes wide open when covering this, okay? So, yes, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on at the end of the show, all right? Also, guys, let me do a little sports news. Of course, you know, this is sports and politics with T. So let me just say this, that this coming weekend is going to be the quarterfinals as far as the NFL season. And so we only have four more teams left. And the first team, or the first two teams, is going to be the Patriots and the Broncos, and the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. So whoever wins between these four teams, of course, that's going to cut it down to the last two teams. Those are going to go to the Super Bowl. Okay. So yes, the Patriots will be playing on this Sunday at 3 p.m. Against the Denver Broncos. And then that evening is a 6:30 game, which is going to be the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I watched the Seattle Seahawks play against the 49ers last week, and they were, that was a blowout. I was shocked that the 49ers lost the way they did, because they're really good too. But Seattle beat them really hard. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting game. The Broncos, I did watch a little bit of them. I think they played the Bears, the Chicago Bears, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they're playing the New England Patriots. And so those are going to be the four teams that are left. And then whoever loses between those two, the last two teams, is going to go to the Super Bowl, which is on February the 5th, which is right around the corner, guys. So let's look at it on these games. This is going to be a very, very good game between the AFC and the NFC championships. All right. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic at hand. Again, Donald Trump is trying to buy Greenland. I'm going to let you know how I feel about this once this segment is over.
Mr. President, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
You have talked about this framework, the beginning of a framework that you've spoken with the NATO secretary about. Can you tell us anything about that? Does this ultimately mean that the U.S. will ultimately acquire Greenland?
Well, I don't know if I can say that, but it could be. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. But in the meantime, we're getting everything we wanted: total security, total access to everything, have as many bases, have all the equipment that we want. And very importantly, you know, we're building the Golden Dome, we call it. It's called the Iron Dome. Somehow the Golden Dome sounded a little bit better, but we have a technology that's second to none. You saw what we did with Israel, and that's our ingenious that did that. And it's amazing. It's just, you know, it's foolproof, and we're going to be building it, and it works much better when we have access to Greenland. Just covers more territory, covers it more accurately. missiles will be more accurate by having it. It's very important strategically as a piece, and we will have everything we want. We're getting everything we want at no cost.
So the Golden Dome will be on Greenland?
A piece of it, yes, and it's a very important part because it's everything comes over Greenland. If the bad guys start shooting, it comes over Greenland. So we knock it down. It's pretty infallible. It's amazing. You know, Ronald Reagan had the idea a long time ago, but we didn't have any technology at that point. The concept was great, but there was no technology. Now we have unbelievable technology. I mean, virtually 100%.
So what are we talking about? An acquisition of Greenland? Are you going to pay for it? I mean,
we're talking about it. It's really being negotiated now, the details of it, but essentially it's total access. It's there's no end. There's no time limit. We're not doing a 99 or a 10-year or anything else. You know, the famous 99-year deals that you hear about, because countries can't do it for that. Countries go on longer. And so I think it's going to be something that's very well, already it's being reviewed very well. Well, I noticed the stock market went up very substantially after we announced it, but the details are being negotiated now. It'll be very good.
So because the GDP of Greenland is like $3.3 billion, but people are valuing Greenland of between 50 billion and almost $1 trillion. So what are you willing to pay for Greenland?
Well, I'm not going to have to pay anything. We're going to have total access to Greenland. We're going to have all military access that we want. We're going to be able to put what we need on Greenland because we want it. We're talking about national security and international security. So we're going to...
Okay, let me stop right there. That lady asked, how much are you going to pay for this country? The president of the United States says, I don't have to pay for any of this. Okay. You realize if he says that, you know who's going to be paying for this country? Do you know where the bill is going to lie? On the American people, just like everything else. Okay? He's right. He personally is not going to be paying for this. We are.
Not have to pay anything other than the fact that we are building the Golden Dome, and the Golden Dome is going to be something that's going to be very amazing. It'll be Israel times probably 100. And we need it. I think we need it. And it's all going to be made in the United States. We have the best weapons in the world. We have the best companies in the world. We want them to produce faster. And we've put a mandate out. You're going to have to produce faster, whether it's the Patriots or the Tomahawks or the F-35s or anything else. We make the best equipment, but they have to make it a lot faster.
And you've said you want a defense budget of $1.5 trillion for 2027. How do you pay for that with a $37 trillion debt load?
Yeah, the money that's coming in is astronomical. You know, we'll be taking in over $600 billion this year alone in tariffs, and that's because we're doing it nice and easy. We're not even doing it strongly. We hope we have a good decision from the Supreme Court. If we don't, we figure something else, but it certainly makes life a lot easier if we have.
So he said from the tariffs, guys. And who is paying for those tariffs? We are.
That decision that we're waiting for. If we don't, we'll do something else. But we have a lot of money coming in. We have a tremendous success. We have over $18 trillion. It could be when I get the final numbers, could be more than that now because, that was a month and a half ago, but we have $18 trillion coming into the country in the form of investments. We have thousands of businesses being built all over the country. And you see it, you report on it better than anybody else. I appreciate that. But, when you think of 18 trillion plus, no country's done anywhere near that. Like, that's probably 4 times, 5 times more than any other country's ever done.
And I always say money goes where it's treated best.
Well,
so you've got the right policies, obviously.
But they want to be treated good. They want to know that, we have a country that's hot. We had a dead country 1 year ago. This was a dead under Biden. You know that better than anybody, but we were a dead country. The King of Saudi Arabia said it to me. I use it all the time. He said, 1 year ago you were a dead country. Now you have the hottest country in the world. We're the hottest country in the world.
Mr. President, are our relations with Europe deteriorating or worsening? I mean, French President Macron called the Greenland situation colonialism. European leaders have these emergency talks to try to retaliate or stop your plans. You're threatening France with 200% tariffs on wine and champagne. There's been a real reaction from the European group. So,
well, they put a service charge on us, which is something that they're going to have to remove. I think we get along good, but I've always debated we are always going to be there for them, but will they be there for us? I've always said that, if we ever needed them, because NATO has very much been a one-way street. We actually paid, until I came along, we were paying for, I think we paid 100% the cost of NATO. They weren't paying and we were paying. We have hundreds of thousands of soldiers in Germany. We have 50,000 soldiers in other countries. We have a lot of soldiers, not only Europe and other places. And, we want that to be reciprocal. We want to be liked and respected. So I've always said, and we get along very well with NATO, I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And
Well, but see, these countries know what it is. He's trying to, like that lady just said, it's colonialism. He wants to colonize. He wants to take over. That's his mindset. Dictator. He's trying to colonize another country. We have enough problems in the United States already. Okay. Let's fix our problems first before we inherit another country, before we buy another country. We have American citizens right now that are struggling. And to me, if we can find money to buy another country, why can't we use that same money to help the American citizen get back on their feet, help them with their bills? You know, again, he's trying to colonize because you best believe there is some money in it for him too. Don't let you think that there is no, he's not getting anything out of it. In fact, and I said this last year, the only time he makes deals is if he's getting something out of it in return as well. It's not just he wants the power and the resources. He's also getting heavy, heavy money as well for his pockets too.
I'm not sure of that. I know that we would have been there or we would be there, but will they be there? And let's hope that that never happens. We've never needed them. We have never really asked anything of them. They'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little back, a little off the front lines. But we've been very good to Europe and to many other countries. And, now under my administration, that began because we had a very successful first term. That began then, but it has to be a two-way street. And it's been a two-way street, much more so. And now it's really been a two-way street.
So what should we expect from the European countries? I mean, they've got this EU anti-coercion instrument that would be, services, impacting our services, as you said. And then the Danish pension fund said that they're going to exit U.S. treasuries, $100 million treasuries at the end of December. European countries hold trillions of stocks and bonds from the U.S. Are you worried that they would start selling those in retaliation?
If they do, they do. But, if that would happen, there would be a big retaliation on our part. And we have all the cards.
Mm-hmm. And how much of all of this, you've been so tough on so much. I mean, Venezuela, Iran, etc., a long list. How much of this is messages to China and Russia as well?
I think they see what happens. Look, we attacked Iran. We wiped out their nuclear capacity in one night. This was supposed to have been done for the last 25 years, and it wasn't by American presidents. And we did it, and it was a tremendous success. We wiped out, as you know, al-Baghdadi. That's ISIS, the founder of ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS. I knocked him out first time. Soleimani, that was a big one. He's the father of the roadside bomb. All the young people that you see without arms and legs, and their face was blown to pieces. And that was 95% sure it was al-Baghdadi. He was the father of the roadside bomb. He's gone. Now he's wiped out. And
you see how he goes down the list, and again, no proof nowhere what he's saying. Okay, he likes to brag and make himself look good, but we all know the truth. If this is the case, then how come this is the first time we're hearing about all of this? Okay, and number two, what does that got to do with the American economy right now? Inflation is through the roof. Okay. Maybe the stock market is doing a little better. Thank God for that, because it wasn't doing that last year. And we don't know how long that's going to be, especially if he acquires Greenland. So
recently Venezuela, but a big one was, you take a look at what we did. We would not have peace in the Middle East if we didn't take out the nuclear capacity from Iran. We wiped it out. Operation Midnight Hammer, it's called. And That was an incredible feat. Every single bomb went right down those chutes and exploded. 100,000-pound bombs, massive bombs. They went right through. In the dark of night, no moon, no anything. Every single bomb hit its target perfectly. And then recently Venezuela, that was, some people think that was sort of the most amazing because this was in a major military fort, one of the biggest military forts, went in, it did the job, came out. Nobody can believe it happened. Nobody killed, no equipment lost. Pretty amazing.
It could be that what you did in Venezuela galvanized the people of Iran, and I want to get your take on next steps because you told the people of Iran you're with them. Help is on the way. We understand from reports at least 20,000 people are dead. How do you know they're no longer killing citizens, and will you finish the job?
Well, I hear two different reports. I hear different numbers, much different than those numbers. But I will say that they were going to hang 837 people that you know about, and that was sort of a done deal. And I said, if you do that, you're going to pay a big price. You're going to get hit harder than anybody's ever been hit before. And they decided not to do that. So they didn't hang those people on Thursday. Last Thursday, they were going to hang. Can you believe it? We're talking about this.
No.
But we had 20,000 to die, though. They didn't hang 800, but we had 20,000 to die. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like he's oblivious. It just it's crazy.
That's from 1,000 years ago, right? But that's what we're dealing with. And yet smart, cunning people. But it's an ancient way of life. They were going to hang 837 people. And I said, in the very strongest of language, don't do it. And they didn't do it. So that was a big thing. And from there, we'll see what happens. That's the last we had to do with them for a little while. But if we didn't take out their nuclear threat, there would not be peace in the Middle East. Nobody could have done it. They were all afraid. They were afraid. They used to say the bully of the Middle East, that Iran was the bully of the Middle East. Now, they're not such an effective bully anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. But see, now he wants to be the bully. He wants to take over countries and run other countries. And so, listen, you can do more business if you're honest and you're fair, okay? And some of the allies are turning on the United States, okay? It's don't believe everything that he's saying because I'm going to tell you right now, he's always going to make himself look good even when the story says something totally different. All right. So again, it's the same old babble that he always talks. He's going to pat himself on the back on things like that. But we all know the truth. We all see the numbers. We're going to talk about right now this voting act. This is on the Roland Martin show, how they're trying to push this new voting legislation as far as, does this mean, will we be able to vote the same way? How is this going to impact the midterms? We're going to dissect this video as well once this one is over.
Cut 1965 Voting Rights Act, and keep in mind, you already had the Shelby v. Holder decision. Well, in Mississippi, some lawmakers there want to take action to protect black voters. Earlier this week, members of the state's Black Caucus introduced a bill to establish a state-level voting rights act ensuring protections for minority voters, even if federal safeguards are weakened. The Robert G. Clark Jr. Voting Rights Act is named after the first black Mississippian elected to the state legislature after Reconstruction. His courage has helped pave the way for the current 58-member Black Caucus in Mississippi. Reporters emphasize that the bill is not about party politics, it's about safeguarding the right to vote for future generations. Mississippi State Representative Brian Clark, Robert's son, and Kabir Kareem, the chair of the Mississippi Black Caucus, join us right now. Gentlemen, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
So let's walk through this, Representative Clark. I'll start with you first. And the reason this really is smart to do. I think about Ohio, where former state representative there, Alicia Reese, was trying to get a state voter protection bill that would enshrine in the state constitution the right to vote. What people don't understand is that there is no affirmative right to vote for every American in the U.S. Constitution. Now, it says you cannot disenfranchise folk when it comes to voting. But so explain to people why, by doing this on the state level, then you do this, You're not worried about what happens on the federal level, specifically for Mississippi, because you are placing it in, would this be state law or in the Mississippi Constitution?
And that's a great point, Roland. And again, thank you for having us on today for this important topic. But you're exactly right. When you think about what happened in the Shelby case back in 2013, and you think about what we're about to face now with the Louisiana versus Cali case, it is horrifying, especially being from Mississippi. With Mississippi's history as far as voter suppression, voter intimidation, everything that's going on, is that if federal law is continuing to be eroded, we may find ourselves in Mississippi where we have no protection as it relates to voters' rights. So what we're proposing is that if it happens on a federal level, that we need a safeguard on the state level that's going to protect the right to vote. Here in Mississippi, we've had Fannie Lou Hamer, Aaron Henry, Medgar Evers, who shedded his blood, so we would have this opportunity, and we want to safeguard that. And to answer your question is, the bill that is House Bill 1446 is actually a bill that's going to be enshrined in state law. Now, ultimately, the best bet would to put it within the state constitution, that it would be a constitutional provision that's going to protect our right to vote.
And so, again, Kabir, again, people need to understand, and I'm always trying to walk folk through, I believe in connecting the dots, to get folk to understand that, that first of all, elections in America are not federal elections. And we don't have one federal election, even for president. We have 50 state elections. So the John Lewis bill got passed by the House, did not get passed by the Senate. And so if the federal, if Congress is not going to act, then this is where you utilize state power. Conservatives have been doing this on the flip side, utilizing their control over state governments to pass laws that have been disenfranchising black folks.
No doubt about it. And Mississippi has some of the strictest voting laws in the nation. We don't have early voting. We don't have online voting registration. We don't have a ballot initiative. And to get your voting rights back is very cumbersome. So we felt it was very important to partner with our advocacy groups and members of the Black Caucus to make sure we produce this legislation to try to protect voter participation and voting rights here in the state of Mississippi. And I'm just glad that the Black Caucus introduced this legislation, and we're looking forward for the battle to get this passed.
Do you have any white lawmakers who agree with you on this bill?
We have one. We have a companion bill in the Senate. Senator David Blunt, who is a Democrat, has signed on to co-sponsor the bill with Senator Dupree. And in the House of Representatives, Representative Summers is leading the charge, and Black Caucus members are signed on to the legislation to show a unified front.
Obviously, this is going to be heavy lifting, Brian. It's not going to be easy at all.
Right. I mean, again, we're in Mississippi, and we acknowledge the fact that it's going to be an uphill battle. But when we did the press conference on Monday, I was talking about my dad, and one of the things he always said is, when the ballot box is threatened, you don't give up, you fight harder. And that's how we're looking at it in Mississippi. Here in Mississippi, whenever it's to anything that is suppressive as it relates to minorities, Mississippi seems to lead the way. And as the Black Caucus and Democrats in Mississippi, we feel that we need to lead the way and lead this charge to try to push back some of this voter suppression that we think is coming forward. And here in Mississippi, we have a lot to lose. In the last 60 years, we have gained a lot of political power in this state. We have 58 members of the Legislative Black Caucus. In addition to that, we have a lot of African American supervisors, mayors throughout the state, as well as aldermen, school board members. We have more African American elected officials than any other state in the union.
And let me say something about that. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why they're trying to eliminate, so that those people, especially of color, can't get back reelected, because if we can't vote on the federal level, right? Everything is state. Well, guess what? The county commissioners, the mayors, people in power that's in your city and your state government, if they take rights away from the state, guess what? We can't get those people reelected. And a lot of people, like he was saying, are minority people that hold those positions. So we see what they're trying to do. And this is a shame. But like he said, they're going to have to keep fighting, and they're going to continue to fight so that they won't remove those rights from the American citizen. So we're going to keep looking at this. I just wanted to kind of cover it briefly because, like I said, they're trying to change little by little, and they're doing it on a slide. So, because I don't think they're thinking that we're paying attention, but we are paying attention to this because this is huge, especially coming up for the midterms. Okay, so it's crazy, guys. It is crazy. But anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the show for tonight. And I will be back on Saturday with fun and entertainment with T. But also, we're going to be looking in on the sports. Keep an eye out on the last four teams, which is this Sunday, okay, at 3:30, the first game, and then around 6 o'clock for the second game. Because whoever wins between these two teams, like I said, will be going to the Super Bowl. All right. So if you enjoyed the content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you can, please hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any episodes every time I come on to YouTube. I will be back again on Saturday at 8. And I hope, again, everybody enjoyed the rest of their week. And I will talk with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.